Quack, 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 quack. No!
Hell was that?
Until they copyright that or something like that, we're gonna keep playing it. I don't care. What is going on, everyone? And welcome into the Voice of College Football Oregon Ducks Live. And sorry about Wednesday. Yeah, we were going to roll, but some scheduling issues came up, and then traveling last night back for me from Nevada. So here we are, the night before the game, to talk Oregon and the Badgers and some other things. How are you doing this, Spaz?
I'm doing good, man. Just getting ready to watch this old man versus young man fight here in a little bit. And enjoy a little bit of UCLA Washington. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I'm waiting for. You know, like I said before going on, I'm waiting to see the struggle fest. UCLA at Washington. The old Pac-12 goes at it after dark. Not quite after dark. Not quite after dark, but almost. It could be an overtime game.
Could be a tie game.
Yeah.
Oh, wait. There is no tie.
Yeah, there is no tie. So it could be an overtime game, though. I could see that happening. I mean, Washington sucks on the road, but they're at home for this game. UCLA is starting to figure it out. Maybe. We'll see.
Yeah. Could be a good game.
Let's just talk about Spaz because it always is going to happen every single 3 or 4 years. Dan Lanning is not going to the NFL. Everyone can just stop that crap right now.
Yeah.
There's absolutely no reason. Let's look at it this way. Why would a coach go from a successful program to the NFL? Aspirations, right? I guess to coach at the highest level, basically.
Yeah. Yeah.
How well has that worked for a majority of college coaches?
Not the greatest.
Chip Kelly left. He could have stayed at Oregon and been successful for multiple more years. He had one good year, one or two decent year, good year and a decent year, and then he just went downhill from there. Now look what he's doing. He's an OC in college.
Yeah.
Freaking Urban Meyer.
Cedric the Entertainer. What the?
Nick Saban couldn't even succeed in the NFL.
No.
Because like you say, you're not really a coach. You're a coach at that point, but it's X's and O's. It's more reliant on if you have a good GM and ownership than just what you do. So why would you leave a place that you are being successful, you're building up? You could be there as long as you want to be at this point. You've got full support of the university and the fan base and everything. Why risk that to maybe make the same or a little bit more in the NFL where literally you could do everything right and still get fired in 3 or 4 years?
Yeah.
And have to start all over again. Plus, if they're hiring you, you're going to a crappy team.
Yeah. Yeah. You're going to a total rebuild. You're going to get you're dealing with grown men, not kids. It's going to be harder to motivate. Yeah, no.
Yeah, Lanning feels like a college coach. He loves to recruit. That's what he likes to do. When you go into the NFL, you're dealing with people that don't have to listen to you. I mean, they technically do because you're the coach, but a lot of them are making more than you.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that's it. You have a struggle fest going on there. And again, Lanning has no NFL experience either at any level, no NFL experience. So, again, I just don't see the ties anywhere. Again, it is just a rumor, and there was nothing specific listed, but this is going to happen when you have success.
Yeah, exactly. And
it is scary though that the fact that it's Lanning's name specifically. I know it's an Oregon beat writer though that really brought it up, but it's always funny that Lincoln Riley, Ryan Day, they never get mentioned.
No,
because they suck. Well, Ryan Day not as much as Lincoln Riley, but you get what I mean.
Yeah, and it's funny. I've been in some of my shows this last week. I'm so used to people, oh fuck Oregon or the West Coast or and today I was in a group chat with a bunch of guys, and mind you, most of these guys were like SEC guys, Tennessee, some Alabama, LSU, and almost all of them were saying, Oregon's probably got the best shot of winning Natty this year. And hearing that coming out of guys from mouths from the SEC, not just one, but multiple guys saying that they really think Oregon's got a legit shot this year, just kind of makes you feel proud.
Well, yeah, and like I said, at this point, he could stay as long as you're constantly in a playoff or right on the cusp of a national title. He could stay as long as he wants. That's the thing. You can have a down year here and there. Of course, every team does, but I think Lanning's building it where he's not going to have that bad of a year now and then. I do apologize. I was editing that banner earlier, and I changed it a couple times. So when I first put it up, I didn't notice it. It said Danning Lanning to the NFL. I just corrected it because I was editing it a couple times. I didn't notice I made it. It was an easy, obviously, typo of what it was, but well, and again, with Dan Lanning, he's a very family oriented guy. He's moved around a lot with his family, and I guess when they got to Eugene after that first year, his wife was like, "We're staying here," and he's like, "Okay, at least until the kids are grown," and that's obviously quite a few more years. And,
yeah,
he's a pretty to his word kind of guy. So these rumors are always going to come up, but I'm not worried about that.
I don't think we'll have to worry about that till 2030, maybe 29-30.
Oh yeah, they already gave Dan Lanning one too. Also has a $20 million buyout right now because they just gave him another contract extension. If he were to go even to just say make it to the final, not to the national title game, but right before that, or just to the title game and not win it, they'd probably give him another year extension and up the buyout even more. If you win the title, they're probably going to give him another 3 more years automatically.
Oh yeah, for sure.
I don't know what his bonuses are or how his contract is structured in the sense of the bonuses, but I'm sure he's going to be making a pretty little penny if that happens. Usually how contracts are structured for coaches. But yeah, like Jack said, Lanning does. He wants to be the first head coach. His goal has said he wants to become the winningest coach in Oregon football history. So he's got to pass Mike Bellotti.
Yeah, and it won't take very long at the rate he's going.
At the rate that he's going, it won't, but because Bellotti was there for a long time during some down years. But Bellotti is what is he, 182 wins?
I don't even know.
It just kind of came to mind. I was like, I would have to look that up. I can look that up really fast.
Okay.
Yeah, because I was like, I don't remember what it was.
I think it was less than that. I think it's about 140.
Oh, I don't think so. Indians coach Bellotti. Why does it not just tell me the win totals? Bellotti. We're gonna win total. Should have looked this up earlier. Oh, yeah, never mind. Yeah, he's not yours. Yeah, well, at least by this, he says he's 116 and 55.
Yeah, see?
Yeah, I thought it was more than that.
No.
Yeah,
remember, Bellotti was only really here for 10, 12 years as the head coach.
No, he was there. Well, he was there for 12 years as the head coach. officially, like as the head coach, because he was there as obviously the OC and stuff. Then he gave it up to Chip, but yeah, I thought it was more though. I thought it was more.
So 112 years. Lanning's in year 3, and he's already won over 30, 35 games, 36.
Yeah. So technically, you would think it could take him another like
5 years.
like 4 or 5 years with the extension, with the extended playoffs too. So you get a few extra games.
Yeah.
So 4 to 5 years probably, depending on how each season goes, obviously. So I'm not worried about it. Dan Lanning's not going anywhere. I just don't think he has the drive or desire to do it, personally. All right, Spaz.
No.
Spaz, the final hurdle, really, of the season.
Yeah.
The final hurdle. Oregon on the road at Wisconsin, 6:30 p.m. Central, NBC. Are the Ducks going to get rattled in Madison?
It could be a slow first quarter, maybe. With the crowd, but as somebody pointed out earlier today on Facebook, was that they talking about the 2 time zones and the weather and everything, and yet tomorrow at Camp Randall is going to be a nicer, warmer day than in Eugene tomorrow.
Yeah, I think it's like they said, like 50 degrees.
Yeah, 50 something degrees.
Not bad. That's good. That's nice football weather.
Yeah,
that's nice football weather. A little cool at first, but once you get jogging and stuff, you warm up pretty quick.
Yeah,
and I could see it. The one thing that Oregon does is, like with the Maryland game, it was sloppy, kind of overlooking Maryland. Props to Maryland having the bye week. Wisconsin also coming off the bye week before we go to them.
We've played 8 straight weeks coming into this game, and our last 3 opponents, now 4, have had a bye week before playing us.
Well, I'll say the one thing Oregon has done on the road very well is basically before halftime they put the game kind of out of reach, and then they just kind of coast through the rest of the game. That's kind of how it's been. They did it at Purdue, at Michigan, obviously like UCLA, Oregon State. It seems to be at home. They tend to have more of a kind of a struggle sometimes, and I think it's a little overlooking the opponent a little bit more, maybe like a lowly Maryland, should I say? Actually, I wrote this note down for the Maryland game, and I didn't even bring it up on our post game. I was going to say, is Maryland, Oregon, Stanford?
Yeah. Yeah. That's kind of weird. Kind of like is Georgia Tech, Miami's.
They seem to be. It's 2 years in a row. So, yeah, they seem to be.
Georgia Tech is now Mario Stanford.
God. It seems right. It seems fitting. Yeah, the line here is moved, though. 13.5. I'm sure you still find 14.5 too, but what I just saw was 13.5. Oregon's favored by. And what I've heard everyone say is, take the points. Oregon's should murder Wisconsin, even on the road.
Although Josh Pate says it's a 7 out of 10 on an upset scale level.
I don't know. I think the best thing that could have happened was the Maryland game last week.
Yes.
Get those slot. If that was a C or C- game for the Ducks and they still won by 21 points, that's not bad. I mean, it's not bad. It was sloppy, but I think that can reinvigorate a team. Like you just said, this is the long stretch of the season. This is the last game before the bye week to get rested up.
Yeah.
You're still without Tez Johnson and Marcus Harper on offense specifically.
2 more weeks and you'll probably have those guys back.
If anything, at least probably Harper, maybe hold Tez, just in case. Depending on how his shoulder feels, because you really don't want to bang him up again.
Yeah.
Yeah, of course we want to see the jump around, of course. Yeah, but this is the game we circled at the beginning of the season. We said this one game is kind of one of the scary 3 for us.
Yeah.
But Wisconsin has not quite held up their end of the bargain.
Well, they
so
lost. They lost their starting quarterback. What, week 2?
Yeah. Van Dyke went down with the ACL tear against
so
Bama.
they've kind of had to put together and reinvigorate their offense. And
yes, that's completely fair. Locke has done what he can. Braden Locke has done what he can in having to get injected, but now he has time in the system, and as a starter, you think he'd be a little more comfortable. It's not been great. 8 touchdowns, 8 interceptions, 56% completion percentage.
They don't pass the ball very well. They have a little bit of a run game. They do have a little bit of a run game.
Yeah, they have Tawi. It's Walker. I'm just gonna say I'm butchering the first name. It's Walker. He's not too bad.
And their pass defense is pretty decent. Top 10 in the country on pass defense, but they've been ran on like a freight train.
Yes,
they give up a lot of yards on the ground.
That's what I was going to get into. It's like their pass defense is not terrible. They've got some good guys in the secondary. Where do you think Wisconsin ranks nationally in rush defense as of yesterday?
It's bad. It's in the hundreds.
92nd.
Okay, I was close.
You were close. And I mean, I get it. You can look at some of these and go, oh, it's minuscule amounts. Well, they have one less game than Oregon, and they're 92nd. Oregon is actually, I believe, 33rd. And that's where, it becomes very tight in the 1 yard here, half a yard, and variances. But Wisconsin's 92nd.
Well, yeah. And with Oregon's rush defense numbers are also
a little skewed.
A little skewed with Genty and
Genty, and then the couple big Henderson runs in the Ohio State game, giving up some to Purdue in the second half when the game was way out of reach.
But for the most part, Oregon's rush defense has been pretty solid.
Yes.
Other than you look at the Genty and the Henderson, their numbers were kind of high, but their actual yards per carry on an average were not that high because most of their yards were 1 to 3 yards.
Yeah, it was like the Ohio State game. There was the 2 or 3 big runs they gave up, but other than that, they were getting like 2.5 yards a carry.
Yeah, they were very little. They weren't giving up the big explosions up the middle and the big edge sweeps.
Yeah. And Oregon does not have to worry about a mobile quarterback. Locke he can run a little bit, but he doesn't. He takes a lot of sacks. He does take some sacks. But you can see here with the team passing efficiency defense, Oregon is number 7 because once again, even against Maryland, as bad as it looked, they only gave 206 passing yards.
Yeah.
Which is pretty good because that game seemed like he was going to have like 300 yards passing. And Oregon still shut it down. Wisconsin passing defense efficiency, where were they? They're down at 46. So they're still not terrible. They have some guys that can make some plays, but their rushing defense. Oregon needs to establish the rushing game in this game, like immediately.
Yeah, you just start running the ball on them, and they're gonna leak.
Because
I believe with our, you've got Sadiq, you've got Trey, you've got Evan. Gary Bryant can play some. You got some explosive receivers that if you just pop, bang, they're going to break.
Yeah, you can do a bunch of pop pass, like little touch pass, pop pass type of jet sweeps and stuff like that. Shit, I'm thinking about Sadiq too, and James is now rested. They left him out of the game that last game to kind of
Yep.
rest him.
He had one carry in the third quarter.
Sadiq didn't even play almost. If he did, he was just there blocking. You know, but he didn't. They didn't put him in routes to get hurt. The staff is managing this roster fairly well to like minimize wear and tear, knowing that we have a bye week coming up.
I have to give them credit with that. You know, and people have to understand that's just smart coaching.
Yeah, you may not like not seeing Jordan James on the field like they kept talking about it. What?
There's still a bunch of it left. I just lit it.
Mrs. Spaz.
Oh.
Like Mrs. Spaz, how dare you? Yeah, it's annoying, you know, not seeing Jordan James on the field, but also he wasn't having the greatest game last week. But pull him, let him rest, put Whittington out there, let him do his thing.
And sometimes that's the great thing with having two different styled running backs. With James, he's that gasher, fly guy, speed guy, and they kind of triggered into that with him, whereas Whittington's that bruising power, I'm going to hit you in the mouth running back, and that seemed to be more effective against Maryland's front seven than the speeding cutting of James.
Yeah, they're a nice complement to each other. When I look at the compliments, so it's like last year with Bucky and James, or then you had like LaMichael and Barner. Two different size styles that complement each other very nicely.
You have a power runner and you have a speed runner. And sometimes defenses just easier to one or the other. So if you have that two-dimensional back, you could say, okay, they're keying in on this guy, so we're going to use this guy more and use this guy as a decoy, or not use him at all. And that's what works to the effectiveness of this offense.
In this game too, you might see a few more design Gabriel runs. Most of his runs have been really, you know, obviously just pure read option. They don't really do a lot of like specific. They've done a couple draws, like specific quarterback draws, but they kind of let him, you know, put pressure on the defense. And even then, when it's like the outside run where the running back's doing the block, it's literally just to get 4 or 5 yards for a first down and get out of bounds. They don't want him to like run down the field and get tackled.
Yeah, they don't want him absorbing hits up the middle every third dive. Yeah.
He's not the biggest guy, you know. So it's like you don't want him to get not this late in the season. You don't need him taking unnecessary shots. So they might not even do it. Who knows? We're going to see, but it's something that Wisconsin has to think about. And
he could easily.
I'm going to be right back. My cat is going insane, and I can hear it over my headphones in the next room. So just carry on, Spaz. I will be literally back in 2 seconds. I'm going to change my avatar and make sure it's correct. I'll be right back.
All right. So, yeah, I mean, the way that we've been effectively running the ball and using Dylan basically only when you really need to use him. You're not having the guy running, 10, 12 times a game. Couple 3, and he could end up having like Bo did against Washington. Was it last year in that one game? I believe he ran for the year before the game we lost at home. He torched the crap out of him that game. He had over 100 yards. He had a 70-some yard touchdown run, and just torched him. And Dylan could have that kind of game on a half a dozen carries against a team like Wisconsin. If they just open a hole.
But at the same time, you don't need him to do that either. and do you
No,
want him
but
to do it?
but if need be, this line should be able to open you a hole to get him that read option 60-yard run down the side.
Yeah, it's very possible. I think it's more of the play calling of knowing it's so late in the season. With this game, you basically locked yourself into the Big Ten title game with a win here.
Yeah.
You've locked yourself. You could lose to Washington even, and still you're in the title game.
Yep.
Now, that's not going to happen either. But unless they bring that World of Warcraft field sponsorship power down to Eugene in a couple of weeks. I'm sorry. I saw that field. I thought it was AI.
I did too.
And then I kept seeing it. I'm like, you're kidding me, right? Wow, that's bad. All right. Anyways, yeah, we'll talk Washington next week.
Oh, yeah. Iowa ran for over 300 on them. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Iowa blew them out of the water. I have it here. It was like, 42-10. I was about to say 43-13, but 42-10. Iowa won. I was like, eesh. They did beat Northwestern Northwestern. They blew out Rutgers, but that was when Rutgers was really dinged up and hurting. Everyone blows out Purdue. Everyone does. So that's not a surprise, But
no,
it's been a struggle.
Wisconsin's faced a defensive team in the Big Ten, they've gotten pretty beat up.
Yeah, Wisconsin's 3-3.
Iowa does not have the greatest offensive weaponry in the world, and if they put 300 yards on a team like this, you better put at least 200 yards on the ground and it not be an issue.
Well, but again, that's where Gabriel can rack up some stats too, is because you get the ground game going. We know exactly how.
We know it opens our passing game. Yeah.
That's that's like a general offensive philosophy for football. You run the ball well, now you can throw it whenever you want because no one knows what's coming. And Will Stein loves his play actions. Loves his play actions.
As we're getting closer, I'm going to kind of open up a few cans as we get later in the season. And one of the cans I'll open up is that you just opened right there was if you can establish a running game, if you look at the top 8 teams, let's go with the top 8 teams in the 12-team selection right now. 5 or 6 of those teams have good, solid running games. Tennessee, Oregon, Penn State's mostly a running team, run first team.
Yeah.
But the teams that struggle in reality, Ohio State lost that game here because they couldn't run the ball. Sure, Henderson might have had 100 yards, but like 3 of those were 20-plus yards runs.
Yeah, most of that was literally like on 70 yards or long, 2 runs.
Other than those 2 or 3 long runs he got, they held him in contempt. So it slowed their game, their two-dimensional game down. Teams like Georgia, they can't run the ball. And what's happened? Carson Beck is throwing interception after interception after interception every single week, even against crap SEC teams, because they don't have any running game. And now they just were informed this afternoon that Travis Etienne, their number 1 running back, is done for the year.
Ooh, I didn't see that one. Yeah, that's even
worse.
That's
about 2:00 while we were in a group chat.
I saw you in a space earlier. I just didn't jump in because I was like, I'm tired. I want to take a nap after my travel last night.
Yeah. If you cannot, as you get later in the year like this, and you're trying to position yourself for a run at a title, if you don't have a running game, these good defenses, better defenses that you're going to face in the playoffs are going to be able to key on your run game, and therefore it creates issues for your passing game.
Yeah, because they can pin their ears back and go,
Yep.
we're not worried about that. We're coming.
We're not worried about you running the ball, or we're not worried about you passing the ball. If it's the opposite, if all you can do is run the ball, they just stack the box and don't worry about your outsides because you don't have a passing attack.
Yeah. You were in the chat, so you know more about this because I heard Nico was out tomorrow for Tennessee, but then I heard he's good to go.
Nico's cleared.
Okay.
Nico's
I was
fine.
like, I heard he was out, but then I've heard he was cleared to play. So as far as I knew,
he could have played the second half of that game, but because he took a ding on the dome, they said nope.
Yeah, precautionary, you know.
And he practiced yesterday and today.
Yeah, precautionary stuff. I mean, just like we were saying, how the Oregon's managing the roster, letting guys take a rest. You're late in the season. You're on this long game stretch. You need to get your guys healthy. You've managed the season with minimal injuries. Harper getting dinged up a little bit, and then Tez Johnson. Both are coming back. Birch got dinged up. They held him out. He's back, and he looks great.
Yep.
So, and
Mateo,
by the way,
man, can we talk about Mateo for possible comeback player that not comeback, but like sophomore player of the year? I mean, that kid's a sack and a half away from double-digit sacks. He's always in the backfield disrupting plays, tackle for losses. That kid has just shined.
Oh yeah, I mean, when Birch went down, he stepped up in every game. I mean, he stepped up as much as definitely as much as he could. Likewise, look at Bryce Betcher. You know, he's an award semifinalist also. Mateo, he has 7.5 sacks. He has a pass defense. You know, he has 2 forced fumbles. I'm sorry. Yeah, 7.5. 2 forced fumbles. Yeah. I thought I got off the wrong line there when I was trying to go over the stats. I thought I got into Nico Reed, and I was like, wait. Just wanted to clarify myself there.
And Nico Reed, shout out to Nico Reed. Look at the defense he's played this year in the secondary.
Very good.
There was concern with him and Dante Manning. And since they've alternated those guys this year a lot, neither one of them has really gotten attacked. And when they have, they've held their own.
Yeah.
And Nico Reed has made some nice plays on defense in the secondary as well.
Yeah, the defense as a whole, it just hasn't been that necessarily there's like one standout guy. Each one plays their position just really good and needs to step up in certain ways, like Caldwell or Harmon on the D line, or Birch rushing the pass, or Mateo, or then the secondary has to step up, and there's a rotation of guys that they've finally started to play together more than they were at the beginning of the season. That was the problem at the beginning of the season. They didn't click or weren't trusting each other. Now they're trusting each other to do their jobs. So I think it's a whole
whoever
unit.
Is playing Harper's spot on the interior has a little bit better game this year, this week, I should say.
I assume they're just going to leave. God,
the freshman, I think, isn't it Charlie something?
Is it the freshman? I thought they put in the other one.
No, they put in the other guy. That's right.
Yeah, I think they're just going to leave him in for the continuity purposes. You know, right now. I mean, why disrupt the continuity at this point? Because also, when Harper comes back, then you've got a guy that's also built more experience, so they can swap out if needed. Again, managing the roster as much as possible. Now, shout out to Wilson, though. He did get a touchdown grab last week. Thinking about that, how if you look back, I don't know if you've gone back and really watched the Maryland game, and I've heard it the same thing. It's been the same thought I had. Oregon's really been vanilla on offense still. In multiple games, they're just running the same kind of plays over and over again.
They did run one last week.
Well, then to get a spark and to get the crowd in, of course, Lanning and Stein went to the bag of tricks to kind of energize things a little bit. But in the overall sense of things, they've been pretty generic when it comes to the offense. They've been holding I think they're still holding a lot back.
Oh, yeah.
I don't think that they really have let it. Well, they just haven't been doing anything overly complicated or trick plays necessarily outside of like that one drive to kind of energize things.
They haven't done that that deep tuck pullback launch, play a lot this year.
Yeah, I think I mean some of it was Stein getting used to getting comfortable with Gabriel and vice versa, and then him getting used to the team and all that stuff. But I think for a lot of time they just felt like we don't need to do that stuff.
No,
we can
you
literally
saw
just
when
run.
they did need to against like Ohio State.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
even last week when they were, all right, we need a little bit of a spark to kind of get us over the hump. The fake punt, 42 yards.
Yeah. That to energize, I think the
inside
the
your
crowd
20.
Yeah.
Inside your own 20. I'm going to call a fourth punt, and I'm going to go 40 yards upfield.
I do think that they're holding stuff back still, like a lot of the good teams are that don't need to show a lot. The only time they did show a lot probably was like the Boise State and the Ohio State game, where they like needed to pull out different things to get it done. But after that, they just kind of went, we don't have to do that. We can just run a pretty base generic offense and still win. And not put a lot of stuff on tape.
They haven't attacked teams, although they attacked Ohio State's one spot where, and everybody was shocked because that guy going into that game was like, they were calling him a top 10 first round pick, and Oregon just torched him time after time after time after time. So they know when to attack, and they seem to know where to attack if it comes to that.
Yeah, and that's what I mean. I think that they feel like they haven't needed to necessarily do that, and that's why they've kind of held back. But like we said, managing the roster. Like last week, didn't see Sadiq. Give him a little break. Let him rest up. We might see a ton of him tomorrow, instead of Ferguson. We don't know.
That Ferguson did not have a very good game, and like a couple of us were talking at the game last week. You got to understand, people, that Ferguson is 3 weeks past having his appendix removed.
Yeah.
I mean, to even be out there playing is one thing. So if he's missing catches because he's like, am I going to get hit or you kind of expect that for a couple more weeks. He's going to catch some, and some that you think he should catch, he may not catch because he's just not quite comfortable there yet 100%, maybe.
Yeah, and Ferguson, we said it on the post game, I believe. I said Ferguson has had his good and his not so good games where he drops a bunch of passes here and there. For whatever reason, he'll just drop straight in the hands. He'll drop it. I don't know what it is. It's like at the beginning of games usually. So I don't know what it is. He's always had a couple of these games here and there.
Yeah, but I guarantee when I have a feeling we get through this game and remain fairly healthy, there could be a murder in Autzen Stadium in a couple of weeks.
Oh, after a nice bye week. It's just stuff we'll talk about next week, definitely.
Because this is an Oregon team that if they get through this Wisconsin game, there's a lot of guys on this team that are going to be salivating at the mouth because they feel like they've been fucked for the last couple of years by a certain team. So I have a feeling that they might roll out a fucking freight train in 2 weeks.
They could, and that was something we're going to be talking about next week with some other topics too to go over while we have a down week on the bye. Spaz, guess what?
Yeah.
You suck. We're tied 5-5 on score predictions as I took the Maryland game
God
from you.
damn it.
Yeah, you were a little cocky in that game.
Well, we still scored 39 points, right?
Yeah, I know. But you said 55-13.
Oh, yeah. What did you say? Like 42?
42-14.
Yeah.
So, yeah. You were a little cocky.
Yep.
So, in honor, since we're flip-flopping now, Spaz, you get to go first in your favorite segment of the entire show.
Oh, yeah. The old score
predictions. Think I'd forget? What are you thinking, Spaz? Oregon at Wisconsin, minus 13.5-point favorites on the road, though. Same to chat. Please tell us your score predictions if you have one.
45-17 Oregon.
45-17? All right. I'm running out of space on this page. I need to clean this up.
What did you say last week, Troy?
He's going to bullshit. Troy's a bullshitter.
Yeah.
45-17. You know, I think Oregon's going to do exactly what they've done on the road this entire year and just not screw it up. Take the crowd out quick and just what they've done, just coast. So I have it's tough. I'm going to go with about a 38-13 Oregon. I don't think that they're going to worry about pouring it on because, again, at this point, they don't have to pour it on. This isn't a style point type competition anymore for these teams because Oregon's pretty locked as it is. Just get in, get it done, kind of thing.
I think we get a late pick six or, like last week we had 2 interceptions in the fourth quarter.
Yeah.
And if we get that kind of a game and Wisconsin we're up 31-17 and Wisconsin's got to start throwing the ball. I could see a pick six.
It could in the second half. I'm seeing a little bit more, depth guys getting out there. Yep. That's why I think take them out at the beginning of the game. And just coast.
We would have had a pick six in that game if it would have been one of our regulars, probably. If that would have been, like Nico Reed or Dante Manning out there instead of the third, fourth string guys that were playing at the time, he probably would have returned that.
Maybe.
Because he was less than 5 yards from it, and he just kind of hesitated about the 10-yard line and was like, oh, where do I go? And by then their line caught him.
Well, we're going to see. We got some score predictions. Obviously, 31-17 for Troy and 42-13 from Frankeny. Basically copying you, Spaz. Shocking.
No, I said 45-17.
Oh, I'm sorry. You did. Sorry. That's why I said I need to correct this. Redo this page. I'm running out of space on this page. I got you 45-17 right there. I was looking at the wrong line. My apologies. All right. Any other final thoughts on this game, Spaz, before we get the hell out of here?
No, man, just excited. I'm gonna go hang out with my kid tomorrow, and we're gonna watch it on its brand new 75-inch. He just hooked up.
There you go. I might put it on the main TV out there too, instead of being in here. But then again, then I can watch multiple games. So same time. It is what it is. I think just Oregon just needs to do what they've been doing. Don't need to get fancy. Get the running game going. I think you'll be fine.
Yeah.
This game is not near as daunting as it potentially seemed at the beginning of the season.
No, it doesn't. It's not as a worrisome of a game as we thought it was in week 1.
Yeah, definitely. And preseason, where it was like, ooh, that one, yeah. Well, other than that, everyone, thank you for joining. Please, again, hit the like and subscribe button. Share us out. Help us build the community. We want to get this channel to 3,000 subs by the end of the year or more. That'd be great.
Get your friends to come over and sub. Even if they don't watch us, just have them sub.
We'd like to build it up better.
Yes.
We will be here live tomorrow night around, I believe I set it for 9:45 p.m. Central, 7:45 Pacific for the live post game for the Wisconsin show.
Probably want to bump that to 8.
That's fine. I figured I'll play it by ear as we go. So let's just go 8 p.m. Central, 6 Pacific post game live tomorrow. No, that is true. I mean, that's a fair comment, Troy.
Yeah, because you're an Ohio State fan and all your friends are going, you're a bum. You watch the Oregon guys?
He has to now.
Did you lose a bet, Troy?
Oh, God. If he has to wear an Oregon jersey, then he'll have lost a bet. But yeah, post game. So we'll move it 8 p.m. Central tomorrow, 6 p.m. Pacific, following the Wisconsin game. And then we will be back live next week, Wednesday at the normal time, unless something changes, 9:35 Central, 7:35 Pacific for the weekly show as Oregon goes into their bye week finally before the home regular season closer. God, the season's almost
channel,
over.
Troy.
Good Lord. I got to put a restraining order on Troy. I don't think I can on the internet, but all right. Well, that about does it.
Yeah.
We'll see you guys hopefully tomorrow on
See you guys
the
tomorrow
post-game.
night.
And as always,
let's get 50 to 100 people in the post game tomorrow night.
That'd be nice. That'd be nice. All right. Well, other than that, we'll see you tomorrow night and then next Wednesday. So until then, everyone, have a great evening.